Welcome back to the Tuesday installment of Hot Stove. JP Morosi leading the league in, boy.
Is that JP arriving?
I mean, leading the league in gathering of international media.
There he is, JP Morosi.
Oh, I see. It's not for JP. It's for one of the teams in the tournament. Let's bring in JP if his computer hasn't rebooted. Joining us from Tokyo.
There were some nervous moments here a moment ago. This was real technological drama. I got the dreaded notice that they were going to restart my computer in seconds, but I think I have, hopefully, at least for now, forestalled that calamity on the air. But yes, thanks to my
JP, was
colleague,
that Team Japan walking in right there?
Here's the backstory. That was Team Chinese Taipei departing this morning from the Taipei airport. And when you consider what this team is doing, this has resulted in such national pride for Taiwanese baseball fans. They've got a chance to win a tournament of this magnitude. The Premier 12 is what's happening right now. It's the successor tournament to the old Baseball World Cup. They've never finished first before, but they've got this brand new building, and you saw just a moment ago the way the people of Taiwan are embracing this team. This is a real moment of national pride for Taiwanese baseball fans. You saw the manager, Hao Ju-sang, leading his team through. The captain, Shiju Chen, has been wonderful and talked with me about what it means to grow the game there. And I know it's on the other side of the world, guys, but this tournament, for the players that are involved in Team Japan, of course, I referenced the 24-game international winning streak. If Chinese Taipei can find a way to beat Japan at the Tokyo Dome, it is going to be the kind of victory that transforms the sport in a country for a generation. So that's what's at stake here in this tournament. Venezuela is here. Team USA is here. I went over to Team USA's workout at the Tokyo Dome today. I walked up to the field and I heard in the next room down in the pitching bullpen, because as you know, at the Tokyo Dome, the bullpens are underneath. You don't get to watch the pitchers warm up. It's all underneath. And I heard this grunting noise every pitch, getting it across the plate, demanding excellence on every pitch. 44-year-old Rich Hill getting ready, my friends. It's going to be a great atmosphere this weekend.
Hey, let me ask you something about Chinese Taipei real quick. Remember all those years they won the Little League World Series? Do any of those guys ever, advance to play at this level?
Sure. So, well, first of all, the icon, and actually when I spoke with Chen earlier in the week about if he had a desire to play in MLB, what he said was the thing that changed baseball in Taiwan forever was when Chen Ming-Wang made it to the big leagues and became a star. And for a few years before he had that injury, he was one of the very best pitchers in the American League. And then a couple years later, Wei-Yin Chen came on. Remember him about a decade ago? He was a legit lefty for the Baltimore Orioles. So the reason why Chinese Taipei right now ranks as the second team in the WBSC World Rankings, Harold, is because they're very good at the youth levels. They don't always make it over to play in Major League Baseball, but domestically, the league there, the CPBL as it's known, is very strong. And there are players, I've seen them in the last week. There are multiple players on this team who I think would be productive Major League players. They just tend to stay closer to home. So there's a reason why they win those youth level tournaments, the U12s, the U15 World Cups. And now we're seeing this tightly knit group of players coming together. I got to say this. I saw earlier in this tournament, Quan Wei Chen, the closer from Chinese Taipei, is forkball, one of the best out pitches I've seen in this tournament.
JP, let's get you to the Hall of Fame ballot, which was revealed. Harold and I kind of took a brief glance at it in the last segment of the program. Ichiro's a slam dunk first ballot guy, of course. I would imagine that folks in Japan are paying closer attention to this year's Hall of Fame vote than they have in quite some time.
They are, Matt. And how about this anecdote? I checked in with our friends of the Hall of Fame. Right now, because this was ballot drop week, there are members of the Japanese media in Cooperstown this week to cover the fact that his name is on the ballot. Just to cover the ballot, okay? Consider how big of a deal that is. And now think about what it's going to be like in January when the Japanese media is there waiting on word, which we know what it's going to be. And then fast forward to July when we're there covering the induction of the first ever Japanese-born player to be inducted to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. This is going to be an international event, and it truly is the winter of Ichiro. There's a beautiful display. I took this picture when I was here 5 years ago. This is even 5 years ago. The Ichiro display. There he is, the Oryx Blue Wave jersey at the top, and then the 3 MLB jerseys he wore, Yankees, Marlins, and of course the Mariners. And I go back to the final game he played. What a storybook ending it was. The reason why he's on the ballot this year is because, remember, he wanted to play the first couple games of 2019 in the Dome, right here, the embrace with Felix Hernandez. And remember, Yusei Kikuchi crying because Yusei Kikuchi had a chance to pitch in a game that the legendary Ichiro Suzuki had as his final game. Remember this moment, Kikuchi brought to tears. This is not just a baseball player, guys. This is an icon of the country of Japan. There's some whispers that he might be in the building this week, by the way, which to me, if Ichiro is here with Samurai Japan, the modern Samurai Japan, all of them grew up idolizing this man. And if you see Japan win a gold medal, or if they play the U.S. for a gold medal, if they play Chinese Taipei for a gold medal, or Venezuela, doesn't matter. This place is going to be filled up like it's Game 7 of the World Series. And can you imagine what happens if Ichiro walks out in the middle of all this? His name's on the Hall of Fame ballot. This is why we love the international game so much.
With so much Japanese media descending on Cooperstown, might be time for Brian Kenny to learn those multilingual.
I want him to get into the Loretta Stone.
Get him a Loretta Stone and get him into.
Ichiro is close to not being on this ballot because he would have kept playing if they'd have given him
Oh, he's 51 years young. And by the way, one last note about Ichiro that we talk about how early you have to debut in the major leagues to be on the Hall of Fame track and get 3,000 hits. He got his first major league hit, #1, at age 27. 27 years of age. There are all those graphics that show how your journey to 3,000 hits. He didn't have a single hit in the major leagues until his major league debut at 27.
Amazing.
1 of 1.
JP, before we let you go, let's hit you on the trade market. Yando presented all week once again by the United States Marine Corps. Well, we haven't talked a lot about Juan Soto, and we've been on the air for 40 minutes, so let's fix that. Here we go, some fresh Soto news with that very high-profile, pricey free agency out there. Reports say that he is meeting with the Los Angeles Dodgers this week. So that means there have been meetings with all the high-priced players after the latest round of meetings with his incumbent employer, the New York Yankees, and he is expected to sign, I don't know who this is being attributed to, by the winter meetings, if not at the winter meetings, which would be kind of a nice little touch.
Well, think about it. If you're the Yankees, you go, I want last shot, right?
Okay.
So he's been Red Sox, Toronto. Who else we heard of? Mets. Today's the Dodgers.
Right.
And then the Yankees.
Right.
And so those are the main 5 players. You know, we heard about mystery teams. There's 4 others, all that. I think everybody's getting to the point of, okay, are we playing in the 600 territory if that number's real? These 5 teams are probably the only ones doing it. So, yeah, I think I said yesterday, it looks like they've accelerated the meetings and everything else. What are you going to tell him? Hey, there's a what? Madison Square Garden's a famous basketball court in the world. What are you going to tell him?
Yeah.
You know?
You can eat it. You can eat it Tao.
Yeah,
like you can do that as a Met too, by the way.
Yeah. So everybody's sitting there going, even in L.A., you know, there's the Hollywood star. I mean, what the heck? We give him a star on Hollywood. Yeah. You know what are they going to do for him? It's about the dollar.
Right.
Now we start hearing the money.
So we should remind folks of what we talked about to start the show if you weren't with us at the top of the hour, and that's the Carlos Baerga-generated report. According to Hector Gomez, vis-a-vis Carlos Baerga, the Mets' initial offer to Juan Soto yesterday in L.A., $660. Remember, after he was reportedly turning down the $450 that the Nationals offered him before they eventually sent him to San Diego. And then he went to San Diego and took a year and a half off of his career just to take walks. We all thought the $450 was gone. We thought it was a calculated error that he didn't take the $450. Yeah. He was right. He and his camp, the Boris camp, who, by the way, they know more about this than we do. Turns out they made a pretty good choice in saying no to the $450.
Yeah, I think there's some things that factored in there. There's no doubt about it. with how you turned that down. What was he, 23, 24 years old?
With controllable service time left, but, you know, there's...
But, I mean, here we are. I'm staggered at the number. I know everybody's holding up signs at the game, 600 million, 750, and I never really thought it was getting there. If Shohei Ohtani, the greatest player on the planet, is paid for doing two things: pitching as a starter and hitting homers as a DH, got $700 million. How in the world are you going to give a player who plays in the outfield and he can hit, best hitter out there, the same amount of money?
Yeah.
He doesn't pitch. Bobby Witt doesn't pitch.
Look,
Judge doesn't pitch. Harper doesn't pitch.
You know,
Machado doesn't pitch.
You know what's happening there with the Boris Corp folks. They got the coffee table book. They got the presentation. This is what Juan Soto will do for your Dominican Academy players. This is what he'll do for your legacy. This is what he'll do for your marketing. Oh, and by the way, plus 15 on your win total from last year. Like, they make a very powerful presentation. So if that number gets to 660 as is being reported out there, guess we shouldn't be surprised.
I've always said the player negotiates the contract by how you play. He could not have had a better year.
Yeah.
He brought the Yankees to the World Series. They don't get there without him. Mm-hmm. The year he put up, he was incredible. He bounced back this year because he didn't swing the bat like he was capable the last couple seasons. He was incredible, off the chain,
mm-hmm.
best hitter in baseball. So Juan Soto did what he needed to do, and now Scott Boras is doing what he needs to do. He's going to get his money.
Yeah.
He is.
I just want to know where, that's all. But the most interesting part of this to me isn't the dollar figures. I'm not qualified to be sifting through all those things. The fact that it's going to happen before the winter meetings, according to reports that are out there now, that's fascinating.
I can see that happening because, and I think it's great for the sport, because the market cannot get done.
And you made the point.
Him.
You made the point yesterday that you're holding up your own market.
Yes.
You got other players that you got to get going here. So figure out your top tier, and then everything else falls into place.
Because actually, if you're negotiating a deal, right? If you're a player, you look at who's getting what, and how do I compare to that player?
Yeah.
That's how you set your market.
Well, we've been talking about Juan Soto a lot, obviously, since the start of the hot stove season. When we come back, we're going to employ a crystal ball. No, this still has little pieces of, yes, that's right. Peer into the crystal ball and make predictions for the 2025 season. Next on Hot Stove.
Hot Stove.
Welcome back to the Tuesday installment of Hot Stove, presented by the United States Marine Corps. It's time to peer into the crystal ball. Employing the otherworldly forces to try to predict.
Now you got to redo that. You got to redo it. Do it better. It's got to be like crystal ball. Come on.
You do it.
No, you do it. Give me something better than that.
Peer into the crystal ball.
Thank you.
Okay, now we got that out of the way.
Now let's do this.
Let's do this. We have some questions, and I'm not sure who entered the crystal ball to lead us down these paths, but let's get the first question out there for Harold and I to respond to.
Which team that missed the postseason in each league has the best chance of making a World Series run in 2025?
It's a very familiar voice there.
My first thought is hot chicken wings or something.
Yeah, chicken wings. Let's see, a crystal ball.
Which team missed the postseason has a chance to make a World Series
Why don't
run?
you go first?
That was easy for me. Texas Rangers. I mean, they made the run 2 years ago to win it all. But they get everybody back healthy this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're primed, and their young players are that much further into their career. I think the Texas Rangers.
A World Series run kind of makes it challenging.
Yes.
Which team that missed the postseason has a chance to get to the postseason this year? That's a little easier.
You can do that, but the World Series run puts a little wrinkle on it. I may have stole the only team.
Yeah, at risk of being boring on this one, I'm going to agree with you. I think of the others, the other 22, think it's the Rangers for the obvious reasons, for the reasons you just cite. Like the pieces are all in place there.
Yeah, they're right there.
And we don't really know how they're going to behave in this market either, right? Losing Nate Eovaldi's going to hurt him.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If there's still a chance he goes back there, but that's
you get DeGrom back. Hurts. Hopefully, you might get. You know, we'll see.
I mean, Seattle would be a decent guess there because the pitching will get them there, and we don't know how they're going to behave. If they land Teoscar Hernandez or one of these guys, he's not going back there.
World Series run.
World Series run. Let's go back to the crystal ball for the next question.
All right.
Hey guys, Brian Kenny here. Which team is on Malaise watch for next season?
What? We don't need BK to identify himself.
It's Brian Kenny here.
Okay. You know who I think is on Malaise watch?
No.
The Chicago Cubs. They barely finished over 500. Their spring training schedule starts on February 20th because they got to get ready for the international opener. So they're playing the easy answer is to say the 2 World Series teams. They could be on Malaise watch because they played later into the season than anybody else. I think the Craig Counsell and the Cubs need to establish a winning first couple of months because let's face it, it was a disappointment last year there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who do you have on Malaise watch?
The Yankees.
That'd be my second choice.
I'm telling you. That quick turnaround. Not sure about Garrett Cole's health. How long it's going to take him to rest and get ramped up, healthy, ready to go.
Well, he finished the year healthy, though.
Yeah, but he didn't go like Garrett Cole. You know what I mean?
Losing Soto, that would be a concern.
Be a big concern.
If that happens. Who replaces Glaber if he's gone?
They got some questions.
Yeah.
But I do think they'll fill those voids. It can be better, actually. But I think the early start changes things a little bit. Because they're so young, the pitching staff, Wells, the catch. I just look at it this way. When you got young players like, you look at Hill and Wells and those guys, even Volpe still, to me, is a young player.
Yeah.
The first time I played a 162-game schedule, I felt like I had mono. Took forever to recover. I was so tired.
Maybe you had mono.
Maybe I did. But I think these guys are still figuring out how to get recovered, and it's a quick turnaround.
Let's go back to the crystal ball for the next question.
All right.
Name the starting digit of Juan Soto's final contract.
Well, I mean, look, the report that we had today is that it's going to start with a 6.
Is that shocking to you, or is that where you thought it would be?
No, that's shocking to me.
Yeah,
for the reason you lay out before. He's not Ohtani, man. I mean, look at how it just destroys the rest of the list here. How are you going to pay Juan Soto almost double what you're paying Bryce Harper?
I mean, look at the names.
And Aaron Judge.
Harper, Seager. Now,
so do you think it's
bump the years up, you're still like doubling Bryce Harper. Harper's got 13 years.
What do you think? Is it going to be a 6 or a 5? It ain't a 7.
No, I think it's. I had it at a 4 as a lot. I thought it'd be about 450, 475.
Yeah.
That's where I thought it was.
Well, hey, look, as we learned today as well, we might have an answer to all these questions by the winter meetings, and that's only a couple of weeks away. Let's go back to the crystal ball for the next question.
Hey guys, Brian Kenny here. Who will lead baseball in RBIs in 2025?
I don't care about Brian
because
Kenny.
I don't care.
Why?
But I know you do.
Why is he continue to?
He's asking about RBIs.
Why does he continue to identify himself in front of each question?
I don't know.
I don't think he understood the assignment.
The RBI leader. Say Freddie Freeman. He's gonna have Mookie and Shohei in front of him.
Okay, fair.
Although they clean up a lot of the RBIs and you don't get them, but they're gonna be on base quite a bit.
All right, I got 2 guys, and they're, Rafi Devers. I think the Red Sox are going to be much more dynamic than they were this year. I think Rafi Devers in the middle of the lineup's going to drive in a lot of runs, and I think
that's a lot of faith.
And then I got to pick one Astro between Kyle Tucker and Yordan. And I can't get around Yordan's productivity. Also, Vlad Guerrero Jr. So I got 4 guys.
I mean, gee, what?
Clean it up,
only
right?
26 more teams.
I'll say Yordan.
Okay.
Seal that away. Let's go in there for one more question from the crystal ball.
Hey guys, Brian Kenny here. Cut of jib index is our own proprietary metric on MLB Now. Which player's jib do you most appreciate the cut of?
What did he say?
Was there some question as to whether or not we would know that it's Brian Kenny? he's a pretty distinctive voice on this network. Anyway, the question was, which player's jib do you most appreciate the cut of? And what Brian is referring to are the intangibles.
Yeah, I thought he was talking about the jib operator here that, you know, Chris that reads the books all the time.
Which player's jib are you most appreciative of? The guy.
Tell you what, who stood out, and I watched him every day. I mean, it's easy to say Mookie Betts because he can do so many things. But Tommy Edman, really, watching him play every day for 3 straight weeks, a whole different level for me.
I have a very distinct answer to this because it's a firm answer, because I am convinced that Kyle Schwarber is a guy. Not only do you get the productivity, the bombs, the on base, and the improved batting average against lefties. He was good against lefties last year. In
Don't
the room,
lead him off for me, please.
That's fine. That's a separate discussion. But in the room, he makes everybody more accountable. He's got some intellectual skills as far as reading tells on pitchers.
Yeah.
He's good, man. He's the
really
guy.
good.
He's the guy for me. All right, that was fun.
That was good.
Brian, thanks for identifying yourself in front of every question.
I don't care about Brian Kenny.
Yes, we do.
Brian
But I
Kenny.
just thought it was funny that he had to tell us it was Brian.
Hi, Brian Kenny here.
Just in case we confused him with Adnan Virk. Let's take a break.
Adnan Kenny here.
Hey, Chris Myers of Fox Sports has a new book out that we're going to preview with him. Chris has been involved with so many notable sporting events over the last 3 decades. The list is too long to go over in a bump, so we'll talk to Chris.
2024年は野球ファンにとって本当に忘れられない年となりました。プレミア12での中華台北チームの挑戦、イチロー選手の野球殿堂入りへの期待、そしてロサンゼルス・ドジャースの歴史的なワールドシリーズ制覇、これらは野球が単なるスポーツ以上の存在であることを改めて示してくれました。グラウンドでの緊迫感あふれるプレーから観客席の熱狂的な声援まで、2024年のシーズン全体を通じて野球がどれだけ多くの人々の心を動かし結びつけているのかが感じられました。まずプレミア12での中華台北チームの戦いは台湾国内だけでなく世界中の野球ファンに希望と感動を与えました。台湾の代表チームが強豪日本やアメリカと戦う姿勢はスポーツの持つ純粋な美しさそのものでした。監督の各助産師やキャプテンの元志を筆頭にチーム全体が一丸となってプレーする姿は台湾の野球文化の成長を世界に示すものでもありました。このような国際大会が野球をさらに広め次世代の選手たちを鼓舞するきっかけになるのは間違いありません。特に彼らが東京ドームで日本を破る可能性に挑む姿は台湾の野球ファンにとって新たな歴史の一章となるでしょう。次にイチロー選手の野球殿堂入りへの期待も見逃せないポイントです。彼の名前が殿堂入り候補者リストに載った瞬間、クーパーズタウンに集まる日本のメディアの数が示すように、彼の存在は野球界全体にとって特別なものでした。イチロー選手は単なる一流プレーヤーではなく、国境を越えたアイコンです。その卓越した技術、そしてグラウンドでの振る舞いは、世界中のファンに影響を与え続けています。特に2019年に東京ドームで行われた彼の最後の試合は感動的な物語そのものでした。その試合で泣き崩れた口剛星選手の姿は、イチローがどれだけ多くの人に尊敬され愛されているかを象徴していました。彼の殿堂入りが正式に決定する瞬間は、単なる記録や功績の証明ではなく、彼が築き上げた文化的な遺産の祝福でもあります。さらに、ホットストーブリーグでのファン・ソト選手の動向も、2024年の MLB 界で注目すべきトピックでした。彼の契約金が$600万規模に達する可能性があるという報道は、 ファンだけでなく球界全体を驚かせました。23歳という若さで多くの記録を打ち立て、ヤンキースをワールドシリーズへ導いた彼の実力は誰もが認めるところです。しかし、その巨額契約が他のスター選手にどのような影響を及ぼすのか、また、新たなチームで彼がどれほどのインパクトを与えるのかは、今後のシーズンで明らかになるでしょう。そして、未来への期待も膨らむばかりです。2025年シーズンに向けた大胆な予測が飛び交う中、どのチームがポストシーズンに進出するのか、そしてどの選手がスターダムにのし上がるのかは、誰もが気になるところです。特にテキサス・レンジャーズやシアトル・マリナーズといった若手選手が台頭しているチームが、新たな旋風を巻き起こす可能性もあります。また、経験豊富な選手たちがどのようにしてチームを支え、リーダーシップを発揮するのかも見どころの一つです。最後に、野球の魅力はその予測不能な展開にあります。グラウンドでのドラマティックな瞬間や、プレー外での戦略的な決断が、ファンの興奮を何倍にも引き上げてくれます。プレミア12、殿堂入りセレモニー、ホットストーブリーグでの契約交渉、これらすべてが、野球というスポーツの無限の可能性と魅力を示しています。これからも私たちと一緒に野球の魅力を共有し、盛り上げていきましょう。あなたの意見や予測をぜひコメント欄で教えてください。いいねとチャンネル登録もお忘れなく。最新の野球ニュースやハイライトをお届けしますので、これからもどうぞお楽しみに。野球ファンの皆さん、これからも一緒に素晴らしい瞬間を作り上げていきましょう。